Well, good evening again. It's been a couple of nights since my last YouTube video. Tonight we're ready to start the topside camouflage. As regards the underside, after all the processes I showed you before, as you can see, the entire thing's been masked off, ready for spraying the topside colour. Some people would just tend to mask the actual outline of the colour and spray that way. I hate getting overspray anywhere, so I'd rather spend a little bit extra time, a little bit more tape, and just make sure that the whole underside is covered. Then at least I don't have any issues with overspray later on in the build. So that's that done. We're moving to the topside colours now. It's the two RLM 72 and 73. It's the two maritime greens that the Luftwaffe used in World War II. What I've done is initially I've just gone over followed the instructions, gone over the model with a pencil, outlining the areas which need to be painted. I'm going to start with RLM 73, which according to the instructions is the lighter of the two colours. It's the more blue-green. I've put little X's in the areas that need to be this colour after drawing out the camouflage pattern. As I said before, although I don't like acrylics generally, I am using Tamiya acrylics for this model. RLM 73, I've actually mixed it from looking at the white ensign RLM 73 colour. I painted a swatch onto plastic and used that as a basis for mixing the colour from Tamiya acrylics. I started off with a colour I'd already pre-mixed. I pre-mixed some 34092 a few years ago. So I don't actually have the colour mixes for you, it was just random. I added a little bit of blue and a little bit of grey to that to get the colour I wanted. So I'll give that a shake and take the lid off. So there you go, I've got a pot of RLM 73 there ready to go. Now I'm just roughly outlining the camouflage prior to starting the weathering process here. So I'm going to start my airbrush up. This doesn't particularly require too much fine control. I'm going to add some thinners. I'm using Mr. Colour levelling thinner for this job. I put it in this old lighter fluid container because it just makes it easy to control the amounts I'm putting into the cup. So with that in, I'll add some RLM 73, a little bit more paint than thinner in this mix. Give it a stir around. Quick back flush as you've seen me do before, just to make sure it's mixed. I'm going to put the lid on so I don't risk spilling it anywhere. And with that, you can see I've got the instructions here just as a secondary reference, but having drawn out the camouflage patterns on the model, I don't see the need that I don't see that I need to refer back to them too often. So I'm just dropping the pressure back a little bit to get the pressure I want. And it's really very simple. I've drawn out the lines, so I'm going to go past the lines slightly with each camouflage colour. And that's it. I have masked off the leading edges of the wings. This is all hard edge camouflage going to be on here, so it's just a case of making sure you cover down to the masking on the leading edge of the wings. Open up your airbrush a bit. And fill in. A little bit over the trailing edges as well. Just once again make sure I've covered down to there. And there you can see there's a small portion of the camouflage done. So I'm moving on to the next section now. As you can see, as I said, I'm not using any particularly fine control here. It doesn't matter at this stage. Just roughly lining the camouflage out like that, and then opening the airbrush up to infill the colour. Something I've noticed with Tamiya acrylics, especially over the years, is that although they spray fine and they go on beautifully, they are subject to, they can have quite a heavy spatter pattern without being heavily thinned. Now there's a cutback under each engine here which we need to make sure we catch as well. So as you can see, I'm manipulating the model into some fairly strange positions to do that. There you go, there's the next piece infilled. Let's move on to the other wing. I'm just going to make sure I've covered the leading edges of the other wing, just to make sure that it's all completely covered. Okay, this appears to be just two straight lines here. So that's that. You see how wide I'm opening up the airbrush spray pattern here to get some quick coverage. One of the joys with a double action is that I can, by not pressing quite so hard on the trigger, get a slightly lower air pressure for the paint, so that hopefully I won't have any build up and drive any paint under the masking by just sort of controlling the air pressure in those areas. There you go. Okay guys, there's a base coat, there's a base camouflage on. I'm going to give that a few minutes to dry, and then we'll come back and start the weathering of that colour in. Okay, so I'll be back fairly shortly.